Singapore's ink scene today is bigger than ever before. This means that there are now hundreds of artists, each with their own approach and style. I sat down with a few of them to find out what inspires their designs and why they are so drawn to this particular art form. Later, I also meet with one artist who specializes in paramedical tattoos.
My style as a tattoo artist, I think it's black work and line work, bold but small pieces. I derive my inspirations from botanical illustrations, block printing, textile prints. So the idea is like how to interpret those into tattoos.
The easiest to draw for me, that's from my heart, is stuff that I draw behind. Animation, sort of very illustrative sort of take on things. I guess in Singapore it's East meet West, right? So I read both sides. So DC, Marvel, Japanese manga, Hong Kong comics, and Taiwanese comics.
I have this influence of I like oriental ornamental stuff as well as contemporary black work. I do like a bit of everything, but largely fine line black and grey stuff. So the shading is very dotty and textured.
Mostly I do like script work, now more like calligraphy stuff. I used to draw a lot of graffiti in primary school. But from there I developed a bit of a love for alphabets, I think.
I think tattooing has gotten so diverse that within different circles there are different things that are trendy. There's been a really nice push of abstract stuff.
There's really a lot of trendy small tattoos, I guess. There's the fine lines, minimalistic colored tattoos that look very realistic. People who get tattoos now, they're not just Ang Kong Sia, They're not just that demographic now. There's ordinary people from all walks of life.
I think there's many appeals of tattooing that's more so beyond the duration of time it's valid. The assumption that beauty lies in permanence. But it doesn't necessarily do so. For example, what's the point of fireworks if they run out within a second? So every artist has their own mode of expression.
It's people like us who actually draw our whole life and then find skin as a medium, as opposed to the previous generation that found skin before they find paper. It's a way of life, and I can't draw but I can tattoo. That again, is the cause for revolution, and I guess we are maybe in their eyes we are the assholes who actually change the face of the industry.
The big part of tattooing that's associated with rebellion. A lot of it's associated with personal jewelry that you can never remove. The idea of rebellion is kind of a pushing driving factor. Taking rebellion and making something beautiful out of it.
I just got too many tattoos.
Yeah, I can't get any other jobs.
No choice.
I was working in a corporate job for about 2 years. Yeah, then I wasn't really the happiest. But at the same time, I was battling with okay, art is just something to do as a hobby. It's gonna be very difficult to make it a job or sustain myself this way. But I really felt that I wanted to do it. Usually I ask my clients for their ideas, reference images, where they want to get it placed, and size. That's a pretty good start.
The thing about getting a tattoo is it's a collaborative process. The fact that somebody wants a tattoo from you specifically, that's already huge. Tattooing is the only craft where your work is never your work. It doesn't belong to you.
It's just my job to reach from within you, grab the idea, use my interpretation and put it on outside you. That's what I'll do to trigger my average client is, give me a word now. Because the first word on your mind is always the most honest. You come to me, you let me do, this is free-handed, and it's really a lot of trust. Thank you, Aoyong.
Every day, a tattoo artist somewhere gives someone their first ever ink. I wonder how they feel about their own first tattoos and if those feelings have changed over the years.
My first tattoo is song lyrics across the chest, which is what everyone at the point of time was doing.
Emo boy.
Shut up. I was 17.
I got a heartogram, some band logo. I got it when I was 14 years old, so I wasn't really thinking.
You'll go regret your first tattoo.
Yep.
No, I wouldn't say I regret.
100%.
No one ever truly really likes their first tattoo for their whole life, but I feel it's a necessary mistake almost. Yeah. Because without your first tattoo, you wouldn't have been exposed to so many different kinds of things. Without this exposure, you never truly decide on what you would like. I didn't cover mine up, but Miles reworked it for me. So basically, he pinned my right.
Pin his
chest. Pin my chest. Yeah.
Looking at their current piece, usually what I do is I trace over it, make the lines flow well so that the cover-up will look good. You need to visualize how this will look covered up whether this line should go here, there, like how to fit your style in a way that it can work well with the previous piece.
Creating cover-ups is quite common for tattoo artists, and while the idea is usually to replace it with a different design, there's one artist I met whose work aims to recreate the same thing. This is Sumithra, granddaughter of pioneering tattoo artist Johnny Two Thumbs. She specializes in paramedical tattoos and recreates nipples for people who have undergone breast surgery.
Ladies who have gone through a mastectomy, breast reconstruction. After that, they've gone through a nipple reconstruction. Some of them have. What they will need is they will need repigmentation in the areola. So basically recoloring of the areola. Some ladies who have chosen not to go for the nipple recon, they will actually need a three-dimensional nipple. I started this about 10-15 years ago. Approached by a lady. She went through many tattoo shops. She couldn't get them to cover her scars, and at the same time she already went for a mastectomy. She just needed somebody to recolor the areola, and she was very upset. Nobody could understand her needs, and nobody could assist her because they didn't know any better. And at the same time, it's very difficult for a female after you've gone through such a trauma, right? And you approach a tattoo shop, and majority of the time they're all brawly looking guys, and it's very intimidating to walk in and ask them something so sensitive. So when she did approach me, and I said yes, why not? And I realized that it's just the same thing as doing a realistic butterfly. It was successful. She came back to a doctor in Singapore again for her checkups. That's how the doctors found out. So word of mouth spread to the ladies who came by for this procedure. If you talk about paramedical tattoos in comparison to our average tattoos, if you talk about a lady who is just coming from chemo, your designs and all that are much more straightforward, but I think you worry more about the person's health and well-being because it's a very emotional process for them. A lady who's gone through a mastectomy, she's usually coming in at her lowest point, and you would want her to leave feeling much more confident about herself. She was Japanese. She barely spoke much English, so it was a very difficult speaking to her and trying to get my thoughts across to her. But the one thing is that she just left everything to me. It's almost like she had full confidence in me. I couldn't explain to her how the final look would be, but I could just try and guide her through the process. And finally, when it was done, she just stood up and she just went silent, dead silent. She just stood there, right? It was priceless because I knew that she was so shocked and she was so blown away by the results, right? That wasn't what she was expecting. And then all of a sudden, you see her back straighten up, her appearance changes, and you can just see the confidence.
Learning about how tattoos can change the lives of women who have gone through breast surgery really moved me, and it gave me a new perspective. Something that was once solely viewed as a mark of rebellion has evolved to become an expression of oneself, a representation of a milestone, or even a step towards personal healing for some. Visually, they can be anything from natural to noticeable, elegant or extravagant. At the end of the day, each piece is special to the wearers and creators, trading their stories across skin.